Welcome to Body Sculpt of New York 6 Weeks to Fitness podcast, where we hope to inform, motivate, encourage, and inspire you towards living a healthier lifestyle. And now, here's your host, the president of Body Sculpt of New York, Vince Ferguson.
Hi, I'm Vince Ferguson. Welcome to 6 Weeks to Fitness, episode 190. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bryce Henson is a fitness expert, coach, author, and inspirational leader. He is also the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp, the world's fastest growing fitness bootcamp franchise. Having over 10 years of experience in the fitness industry and owning 2 Fit Body Bootcamp locations, Bryce's passion is spreading fitness to the world. He is mentoring fitness professionals on how to grow their fitness business and change more lives in their local communities. Bryce also co-leads a Fitness Body Bootcamp Mastermind group. And joining me today to talk about his fitness journey and Fit Body Bootcamp is Bryce Henson. Bryce, how are you today?
Oh, Vince, man, fantastic. Happy Friday. Excited to connect with you today.
Well, thank you for coming on and giving us some of your time. But before we discuss Fit Body Bootcamp, tell my listeners and viewers, where did you grow up, Bryce, and what was your childhood like?
Yeah, so I'm a California guy now, but I grew up actually in the Midwest in the state of Michigan. And shoot, I feel blessed to be able to grow up in the first world, like probably most of your audience. But it was actually quite a turbulent young childhood. And actually, I say that I'm from the Midwest. The first 10 years I spent in Atlanta, Georgia, and living with my mom, my dad, and 2 other siblings, so 3 kids. And my dad, unfortunately, was a drug addict, an alcoholic, and addicted to gambling, so not necessarily conducive to a good family upbringing.
Yes.
And the verbal abuse eventually became physical. So even though it was, or I guess at the time, I like to refer this, it was a blessing disguised as a tragedy. As it turns out, the abuse became physical. My mom, by the grace of God, escaped with her life and her 3 kids, and we shot up to Michigan to live with her family, her mom, my grandmother, for the better part of 10 years. And while that was a very challenging, turbulent childhood, it taught me a lot of lessons on work ethic and on drive and family values. So that was kind of my base, and then eventually ended up, graduated from college, moved to California, and got in the fitness industry, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh, most definitely. Well, was there a time in your life where you were not fit? You look great now. Tell me.
Well, thank you. Absolutely. And I guess that latter part of my childhood, when we escaped, if you will, to Michigan, the Midwest, it's a great place to live, incredible people, very compassionate, but not necessarily the fitness capital of the world. So I put myself through school. I'm a graduate of Michigan State. And while I graduated, I took it seriously. I definitely was not a fitness guy. So my staple of my diet was Taco Bell, fast food, a lot of keg parties, in my youth. So as, is common for, college kids. But there I was about 21 years of age when I graduated, and then ended up getting a job in Los Angeles, which moved me to California. And at that point, we'll kind of talk about it, I'm sure, but I wasn't fit. While I was excited to be in California, the palm trees, the blue skies, the sunshine, I was 21, had very little, work experience, job experience. I had 20 pounds of body fat, very little muscle in my body. And if I'm being honest with you, Vince, I had more dark days than good just because of my lack of fitness.
Wow. But what was the aha moment for you that put you on the path to getting healthy?
Yeah, great question. So after I landed in Southern California, Los Angeles, and like I said, it wasn't all drear and greer. Like certainly there were some benefits, but because I went through like a very challenging point, I wasn't confident, didn't have the assertiveness or the vibrancy, the energy that I do now, and it all came to a lack of fitness. So after living in LA like that for probably about a year and a half, fortuitous situation happened. And a close friend of mine that I went to college with moved to Southern California. We ended up living together. And it took me about probably a few months before I mustered up enough courage to say, hey, Adam, can you show me how to lift weights? Because he wasn't on the cover of Men's Health, but he could have been. He had the 6-pack abs, the physique, the energy, the vibrance. All the girls loved him. I really looked up to that.
Oh, yes.
So after living with him for a few months, ended up taking me under his wing. And that's actually what started my fitness transformation.
Nice. So, but now you are the CEO of Fit Body Bootcamp. How did that transition happen?
Ooh, well, that's a little bit more of a long-winded story, but if you have a few minutes, I'd be happy to share.
I'm interested.
Yeah. So basically, after I lived with Adam, I mustered up enough courage. He said that he'd, work with me and introduce me to fitness, but he said, I need you to commit to at least 90 days, Bryce, because I get this question asked so many times that very few people stick with me. So I ended up committing to him. And if I'm being honest with Vince, part of me was thinking to myself, and the little voice in the back of my mind, I'm going to do what he says I'm going to do or needs me to do. And then when it doesn't work for me, at least I tried. But as it turns out, he introduced me to lifting weights, to circuit training, to clean eating, nutrition, but most importantly, which I know your viewers are getting a lot of value from, is the coaching and accountability. Because without that coaching, the accountability, that personal kind of training and accountability, I would like you to look you in the eye and tell you I would be a fit guy, but I don't know if I would have. I can't do that. So as it turns out, over that 90-day turned into about a 6-month clip, but I drastically transformed my physique. I dropped 20 pounds of fat, put 20 pounds of muscle, and but more than the physique, it changed my life. I had the energy, the confidence. I became the top, performing sales rep in my company, and that was really the base and what introduced me to the fitness industry. But it wasn't until about 2 years later when I was at the gym and a couple guys came up to me and said, "Hey, man, how do you lift weights, or what do you eat?" And a light bulb went on to me. And I thought to myself, shoot, holy smokes, like they're asking me kind of like how I leaned on Adam. So I did the most logical thing. And I ended up looking into a certified personal training credential through a National Academy of Sports Medicine, because at the time I never thought I would actually be a CEO of a major international fitness franchise or even, go full professionally. I just thought I could keep my sales gig, which I went from the least performing sales rep to the highest performing sales rep, just because of my fitness transformation, which is a side story. But when people tell me, Bryce, I can't afford to be fit, my response is, you can't afford not to be fit. It's going to benefit every aspect of your life.
Thank you.
So with that all said, after I went through that transformation, I became a certified personal trainer, and I started training some, clients in the nights and weekends. And I think I updated my Facebook profile to personal trainer, and I started receiving ads from this gentleman named Bedros Keuilian, who's now one of my dear friends and best friends, who's the founder of Fit Body Bootcamp. And he was talking about a personal, how to grow your personal training experience, and how to get more clients and get the better results. And so I started following his email probably for about 2 years. And it wasn't until the spring of 2012 when I was coming back from California, because I took a little hiatus abroad. I lived in South America for a couple of years, even though I was following along with the content that he was talking about Fit Body. And I decided, I was coming back to California. I'm actually going to look into this fitness franchise called Fit Body Bootcamp that he's talking about. So I ended up doing the diligence, and I think there was probably only about 15, 20 owners in our brand at the time, but I ended up calling every one of them and, researching, having conversations. And as it turns out, in the summer of 2012, decided to take a leap of faith and open my own studio, open my own Fit Body Bootcamp location in Southern California. So that one location, I'm happy to kind of provide more details, but was really the catalyst to me owning multiple locations, becoming the vice president, and now mid-year of last year, 2021, is when Bedros anointed me as his CEO, so I can kind of continue to run and take that torch that he's built and really, continue it to the future.
Wow, that's amazing, though. Congratulations on that success.
Thank you.
Yes, but to be that successful, to even get the trust that you've got from Bedros, what did it take for you to get that kind of trust from him?
Whew, that's an awesome question, Vince. Well, it first starts, I think, with work ethic. And I learned that work ethic probably in my youth, but really developed it day in and day out at the gym. So again, that's another just really shining reason that fitness has so many other benefits of your life, not only physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So I think, that work ethic was still instilled, but also accentuated through my fitness journey. I'm a guy that takes action. So, I like being in the fitness industry, same with you, Vince, your clients. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You can show them the way, but they have to take action. They have to do their part too. Yeah. Both of you do. And I'd like to think that I did my part. So Bedros, welcoming me into the brand as an owner. I joined his Mastermind coaching group. He gave me some orders on how to grow a business, how to sell, how to get clients better results. And I took action, and I did that day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out. And, while I've had a lot of success, it wasn't all sunshines and rainbows either. I mean, I definitely had a lot of false starts and missteps and, poor leadership decisions that I've learned from and really grown from. But over the years, ended up, making a name for myself within the brand. Ended up, being plugged into the Mastermind group, and really from a networking perspective, and really this is the name of the game, is relationships. Built a very strong relationship with Bedros. So that way, fast forward to 2018, when the brand was growing like a hockey stick, he knew he needed more support and infrastructure. He already knew me, liked me, trusted me. I was his coaching client. I took action. I'd grown, one gym turned into a many. So because of that, foundational trust from a relationship perspective, it was really the last reason I think that he made the call to bring me in as his VP. And then I put my head down from 2018 to 2021, of course, still to this day. But with the support of my team, the support of the franchisees and clients, made some good decisions and add more value. And when the time that, came when Bedros wanted to kind of step out and still be the visionary and help market the company, but also had some few other interests, it just made sense from his mind to anoint me the VIP. Being I start as an owner, I know every aspect of the business. I'm a client. I go to boot camp 3 times a week. I've been the janitor of our studio, so I've seen the business inside and out. And I think that's really a big reason that I was able to fall into this role.
Most definitely. Now, who are your ideal clients for Fit Body Bootcamp?
Yeah, great question. Well, I think it's interesting because fitness has a lot of different scope to it, right? You can be, a bodybuilder, you can be into yoga, you can be into, circuit training. So for Fit Body Bootcamp, the clients that we serve are our avatar. We call her Mrs. Jones, and we do serve male clients as well, but about 80% of our clients are female. Okay. And, we don't train fitness athletes or people that are trying to shave a second off their 40 to make the NFL combine. And there's a space for that, but that's not our clientele. Our clientele is the everyday Mrs. Jones. She has a couple kids. She's overweight, probably doesn't love working out. No, she needs to. Her husband doesn't look at her the same anymore. And, she needs that coaching, that accountability support. And really that's the secret sauce to our program. We're able to bring in our client avatar, Mrs. Jones, welcome her in, give her good results. Our secret sauce of our interval training program is 30 minutes. So we like to say, even like the length of this podcast, like you can do anything for a half an hour, right? 30 minutes.
Exactly. Right.
And from there, it's not magic. Our clientele has to do the work and they have to show up at least 3 times a week, but also from a nutrition coaching perspective, between the high intensity interval training, between the strength and between the cardio, in addition to nutrition coaching, we can get, our clients really great results. And the theme of your podcast and your line of work is 6 weeks. And that's really the baseline, what it takes in order to kind of start seeing the transformation.
Awesome. So all this involves training, coaching, nutrition, the whole 9, everything. That's it. And our model is not, and there's a place for every type of model, but you think of a big box gym, which is just kind of, you're really just renting access to weights, but you have to figure it out. That's not our model. Our model is definitely very much coaching. It's really personal training in a group setting. So you get all the value that you would when you're hiring a one-on-one personal trainer, which there's a ton, but you do it in a group setting. So you can provide more energy, more culture, more accountability, and then for a fraction of the price. And really that's our model. And that's how we're able to produce incredible weight loss results and really, transformations, not only, from a physique perspective, but as you know, Vince, and your audience knows, from a life perspective, because fitness just changes your life. It does. Total, completely, mentally, physically, like you said, even spiritually. Yep. Now, any of your classes are virtual?
So interestingly enough, we're all kind of going through this, hopefully at the tail end of COVID, but previous to COVID, they weren't actually. But, one of our core values at Fit Body Bootcamp is to embrace and drive change. And thankfully, we had that mentality. So we were able to pivot the whole brand literally within 24 hours. And we're shooting this in early 2022. But when everything went down in March of 2020, which I can't believe, and I know you probably can't either, Vince, it's almost 2 years ago, which is crazy. But when everything went down, we were able to pivot to online coaching. And while that's not our bread and butter, our bread and butter is still, in the gym, physical, in-person relationship training. We have, made that offering. We still have a good amount of clients that actually really enjoy our virtual sessions and that coaching.
Okay, but it's starting to open up where you're having more people in-house now. as well.
Yeah, exactly. In every state, unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, is a little bit different. Just obviously the lockdowns and the regulations depending on state. At the
Yes.
time of this videotaping, we have about 10% of our brand is in Canada, and Canada just went on another wave of lockdown. So for our Canadian owners, they're streaming now virtually, which we're able, thankful they're able to execute and really help support them in the back end. But here for the 90% of our brand here in the US, while we still offer virtual as a kind of an add-on and additional value, we're back in the studio, we're back doing group training, and just depending on the state or local jurisdiction, there might be some intricacies and capacity, but for the most part, we're back in and just cranking away.
Nice. And I just got back from Arizona. I was working out every day while I was there. Now I'm back in New York. They have mandates. If you're not vaccinated, you can't work out in the gym. I'm not sure how it is in California, but how is that impacting your franchisees?
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it is. Certainly, it's interesting looking back at this, Vince. I know you're a New York guy and I'm here in California. There's about 5 states that I would not have want to been in this whole situation. One's New York, second is California, Michigan, New Jersey, Washington, to name a few. So it really just depends on the local jurisdiction. But I know New York now with the additional mandates is even more stringent than California, but we're a close second. And unfortunately it is. And, I know this is, unfortunately, it's became a political issue, which is just, mind-boggling and really sad to me. Yes. At the end of the day, I genuinely think, and Vince, I know you're going to be on the same wavelength, we need to start changing the conversation about, instead of, fear and doom and gloom, the reality of the situation. Statistically speaking, obesity is the biggest pandemic that we're going through. It's killed millions of people. The World Health Organization estimates it kills nearly 3 million people a year. It's done that for over a decade, and it's continuing to rise. And of course, we see COVID patients, the ones who are at the most risk have autoimmune or immune system compromised, and specifically speaking, they're obese. Because when you're obese, your whole body, your organs, your heart have to work exponentially harder. So I would really love that that our society starts talking about, the changing the conversation to health, to fitness, to activity, because that, in my humble opinion, will drastically change our society way more than pushing vaccines left and right. And whatever your beliefs are, my whole message is let's focus on health and fitness, and that should be the focus, not sickness.
Thank you. 100%. I'm a believer. That's what I'm talking about. There's less talk on health and more talk on, taking certain products. But I truly believe, man, that if people focus more on being healthy and strengthening their immune system, they will not be so susceptible to these certain type of issues. And what you're doing is great because you're speaking out about obesity and about health. What should people be doing? And the Fit Body Bootcamp help people who are obese.
Absolutely. And we're here in the, Vince, you and I are in the service business, right? We have a big heart. We want to help people. Fitness has impacted our lives. Granted, I'm sitting here looking at you have a great physique. Health and fitness is a very big focal point of your life as it is mine. Yes. And we definitely help all walks of life and all people. And we definitely have, a vast majority, I shouldn't say a vast majority, but a significant amount of our clients that are obese. And we're the solution. We're the solution to that issue. And, what my recommendations are is to get, at least 3 times a week, a full body workout where you're working both strength and cardiovascular. And cardio is really good, but, especially for female clients, for whatever reason, there's this stigma that, lifting weights and resistance training is, going to turn, our clientele into the Hulk. And that's just not the case. Guys have 5 times the amount of testosterone that women do on average and still have a hard time putting muscle on their body without continued focus. So, we want to welcome our clients in, get them on our program at least, 3 times a week, a full body, if not, 4, increase their water, their hydration, increase their sleep, make some adjustments to nutrition. And, Vince, what I'd like to say is working out and getting in the studio is the cornerstone habit. I would like it actually, and you would think if someone doesn't work out, interestingly enough, they should actually take more focus on their nutrition, but it's the opposite. Typically human nature, and you've probably encountered this all the time. A client's like, oh, I don't work out. Well, shoot, I can just eat a tub of ice cream. That it doesn't matter. When it's actually the opposite is true. But that's the reason it's so important to get your workouts as the cornerstone habit. Because when you work out, your physiology changes, you're more inclined to actually pick up that, salad instead of that cheeseburger. You start drinking a little bit more water, you sleep better, you feel better the next day, and it just rinses and repeats. So that's really, really important to, get our society working out. And shoot, Vince, if our society, if the North American continent worked out 3 times a week, cleaned up the nutrition, increased their hydration, and got to sleep, a lot of these health issues that are in the mainstream media about doom and gloom, they would just simply go away.
Yes. I call it fear porn. They're putting out there, Bryce.
Fear porn. I haven't heard that, but I'm going to take that, Vince, if you're okay with it, because that's exactly what it is.
It's fear porn, and it's people like yourself, myself, and others who are trying to spread, faith over fear. You know what I mean? And also fitness over fear. Okay, basically. And I like what you're doing because you're spreading the word, and your mission is to actually get out there and spread this word throughout the world. And you're doing it on podcasts. You have a speaking platform. You're really out there. But let me ask you this: what is it going to take to get the world to listen to Bryce Henson about this?
Holy smoke! So that's the $1 million question, and I'm here. I don't have all the answers, Vince, and I'm here as a humble servant. But what I do know is this: like, fitness just drastically changed my life. It's drastically changed your life, your audience, and a network of people that have benefited from this. And I feel like I have a duty, obligation, responsibility to continue the charge. And our mission at Fit Body Bootcamp, the purpose, the why we do what we do, is to inspire fitness. And it's to change lives every day. And, how I can serve is, by leading my team at headquarters, by, training our franchisees better, by serving our clients, by getting on podcasts like yours, and just really, spreading the mission. And I love that: faith over fear, like fitness over fear. Yes. I'm going to take that with me if you be, so kind, and continue to evangelize that, because we're on the same mission. And, we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go as a society. And we're here taking action.
Definitely. And I think the more people like you and I who get together and collaborate, we will get that message out. Now, how is Fitness Body Bootcamp growing? Are you seeing more franchisees coming to the table?
We are. And holy smokes, 2020, as you would imagine, for our industry, for the rest of that industry, was not kind. So, there was definitely some contraction, and it was definitely a challenging situation to go through, but we really pride ourselves and adding up, stepping value, creating an online coaching platform within 24 hours. We're able to pivot, show our studio owners how to, execute Zoom and virtual sessions, in addition to pre-recording a lot of sessions in the back end. So we had a big virtual content library. So we're able to really continue afloat, even though many of our locations literally had to stop operations, and especially in New York, especially in California, for an extended period of time. So while 2020 was challenging, we're still feeling the effects of this even into early 2022. The light at the end of the tunnel is we awarded 10 times the amount of franchises we did in 2021 than the previous year. And, the interest is coming back. We're on the phone with, prospective owners that are interested. We just hosted our January on-site university to a handful of new owners. And so we still have a long way to go. And I'm hoping the dynamic of the country and the leadership of the country really changes in a positive way as we enter into 2022, which I have some questions mark on that, but that's a topic for another day. What I do know to be true is, there is some faith being restored, and we feel the tailwinds are, back in our favor. And after rebounding and having a strong 2021, we feel very optimistic on what 2022 is going to look like, even from the last few weeks.
Nice. Do you have any locations? I know you mentioned something about having locations in New York. Is that correct?
We do.
Okay, great. And so I can find them online, correct?
Yeah, you want to go to our website, which is fitbodybootcamp.com. That's fitbodybootcamp.com. And, for you or any of your listener, whether you're in New York or whether you're listening to this in any part of North America, you can just put in your search where your address is and find the local fitness studio near you. We have hundreds of locations. About 90% are in the US, 10% are in Canada. So that's where you can find us.
Nice, nice. I understand, Bryce, that you hold citizenships in Portugal and the US. What's that about?
Oh yeah, that's a interesting fact. So I am American born and bred as we discussed, but about in 2010, and I kind of talked about my fitness transformation journey and when I became a certified personal trainer, and I started coaching clients in the nights and weekends as I mentioned. But there was a 2-year gap from when I basically started that journey until I opened my first fitness studio. And as it turns out, I went on a 2-year hiatus to South America. I ended up moving to a little island in Brazil called Florianopolis, Brazil, sight unseen. Growing up, I was a big sports fan and I love Kobe Bryant. And interestingly enough, most people don't, or many people, I should say, don't know this, but Kobe Bryant lived in Italy in his youth for 6 years. His dad played European ball, so he could speak fluent Italian.
Yes.
And, me living in Southern California, but also just, being a big Kobe Bryant fan growing up, I would love it when I watched the games and watched the press conference and he'd give the interviews, but then the Italian press would stay after and they would interview him in Italian. And there Kobe Bryant is, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, speaking fluent Italian. And it really made a big impact on me. So I had that in the back of my mind that I wanted to learn a different language. And I visited Brazil and I was like, you know what, this is it. So ended up moving there for 2 years through a crazy situation, how the world is connected, was introduced to my wife, who actually picked me up from the airport, sight unseen. And that was kind of my entry to Brazil, and lived there for 2 years. Met a beautiful lady. Her name's Tatiana, who, became family with hers. And as it turns out, she's from Brazil, born and raised. But she has family lineage to Portugal because her family immigrated from Lisbon, Portugal to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, decades ago. But because of our union, I was able to pick up Portuguese citizenship and have been to Portugal a few times, as a result. So it's just kind of an interesting fun fact through my life travels, was able to acquire that.
Lovely, lovely. So you've been to Lisbon.
I've been in Lisbon a couple different occasions, and then there's a city in the north, which is a 3-hour train ride called Porto, and it's next to this Spanish border. So both are lovely, both Lisbon and Porto. If I had to pick, I'd recommend Porto. But if for your audience there, if you're looking for a European vacation, especially some of the other countries like Greece and London, very beautiful, but can be very pricey. Lisbon is a very affordable alternative. It has the beach, has the sea. It's on the Iberian Peninsula, so but I highly recommend it.
I love it, man. I heard a lot of great things about Portugal, and that's why I asked. And I was in Brazil many years ago, so I'm familiar with Portuguese. But you're a world traveler, man, which is great.
You know what? I try, and through that story. But before I moved to LA, I put myself on a flight. I enrolled in a study abroad program in Asia. I put myself on a flight when I was 20 years old to Tokyo, Japan. And that just freaking rocked my world. And because of that, I was inspired, and I just wanted to dedicate my life to broadening my horizons, learning languages, meeting people, connecting with people. And of course, fitness has been a huge aspect of that as well.
Most definitely. What advice would you give to someone listening to this podcast now who may be on the fence about their health and not sure if they want to take that leap into Fit Body Bootcamp?
That's it. You just got to get started, one foot in front of the other. And it feels like it's interesting. Human nature, it's when we're anticipating something very challenging, we sometimes go into analysis by paralysis, and we just kind of sit in the sidelines. But what happens is when you take that first step, the other misconception is when you take that first step, which is hard, which is challenging, which is uncomfortable, human nature thinks, okay, if this step is hard, all the steps are going to be hard. Right. And the fact of the matter is that's not the case. When you take one step, it's hard. Then you take the next step, it's a little less hard. And then eventually what happens is after you put one step in front of the other, you wake up and you realize, holy smokes, yeah, it's still hard, but I'm stronger, I'm better, and it's way more manageable. So my message is, it's not as hard long-term as you think it is, but you have to take that step. You have to take action. And when you do, what's the famous, Isaac Newton, who created the laws of physics, a body in motion stays in motion. The opposite also true. A body at rest stays at rest. So if you're sitting on the sideline, staying at rest, you are not going to get moving. However, if you take that one leap of faith, you put that one foot in front of the other, a body in motion stays in motion. You're going to wake up 3 months or 6 weeks from now, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, being like, holy smokes, Vince, I'm a different person. And that's really what you and I are trying to accomplish here.
Love it. Exactly. Now, where can my audience find out more about Bryce Henson and Fit Body Bootcamp? I know you mentioned it earlier. Mention it again.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to give you a different handle because that was our website that I referred you to. But if you want to follow me on social, all the handles from Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and my personal website is realbrycehenson.com. Not to be confused with fake Bryce Henson. So realbrycehenson.com. That's my site. And then all my social handles are the same, Real Bryce Henson. So that's where you can find me, and would love to connect with you, Vince, and your audience as well.
Most definitely. Where do you see yourself, Bryce, in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, my friend, we are just getting started. After a really challenging 2020, 2021, the tailwinds are behind us, and we just have a lot of health and fitness to inspire. So what I'm looking to do is, while we have hundreds of locations throughout North America, I'm looking to make even a bigger impact, really pour into my team, who then can pour into our owners and pour into our clients, and really inspire fitness and change lives every day, which is our mission, which is our purpose, but really to continue to make Fit Body Bootcamp a household name. So that way we can help spread health and wellness together, which is really my mission and where I see myself for the next 5 to 10 years.
Wonderfully said, man. I believe you're going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, my friend.
You're definitely going to do it. Now, I just want to say, Bryce Henson, on behalf of my organization, Body Scope of New York, that's my nonprofit that we have in New York, and 6 Weeks of Fitness, I truly want to thank you for coming on my show today.
Vince, it was a pleasure, man. I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm, and I love what you're doing. We're on the same path here. Maybe a few different channels, but we have our hearts in the right place. And I really appreciate you having me on today.
It's my pleasure, man. And to my audience, I truly hope this program was encouraging and inspiring. That you will continue tuning in to my 6 Weeks of Fitness podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please leave them in the comment section below, and please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And don't forget, we don't stop exercising because we grow old. We grow old because we stop exercising. Peace.